Hello, I hope you're doing well. We're doing a reading today, a 3-pile pick your card reading that is about a shift in your perspective. Sometimes when we're facing problems or we feel stuck, we just need some light shed onto our thoughts, our feelings, to be able to shift our perspective. Or sometimes we might need to know what to do to be able to shift our perspective so that we can start heading back towards our desires rather than feeling stuck or trapped or negative. So we have 3 piles. Choose the card that resonates with you. Choose the one that's standing out for you. And in the description will be the timestamps for you to choose your pile. Pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And I will see you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. The cosmic enchantress, wishcraft. I attract a steady flow of abundance. I was coming into this reading and I am struggling with my throat chakra at the moment. And immediately I'm seeing the blue in this card. I'm seeing this whirlwind. You know, often people talk about our chakras spinning. I get the feeling of too much. There's too much right now. Or at least that's how you feel. I don't really believe there truly is too much. And this is what I'm getting from this. There's never really too much. It's just we feel overwhelmed. And I think that's from our logical trying to work it out. There's all of this space behind her, you know, this galaxy in a sense that feels very spiritual, very aligned, it's like source, you know, and you're one with that. It's like this feels like it has your back. It's there for you. You're this cosmic being. The cosmic enchantress is the words here. And I found it very interesting that it said wishcraft. That it feels like a play on words, you know, like witchcraft, but we're talking about manifesting, and I attract a steady flow of abundance. I'm wondering if you're trying to manifest something, shift something. Maybe you're trying to find truth. Maybe this is why I'm sensing the throat chakra here. There's actually, a little bit of discomfort in my throat chakra. I wonder if you're trying to find the truth where you are the truth. And the truth is also up to you. We're in a reality where we manifest, where we choose, right? With our thoughts, we will decide, I would like to manifest this thing. And we go ahead and we focus on a particular thing, and that thing makes its way into our reality. We manifest it, we align with it, and then it shows up physically. And I think that is the same with the truth. This might be maybe a new concept for you, and maybe this is the perspective change for you, that the truth isn't set in stone. You know, there isn't a truth. There's the truth that we choose, because when we choose a truth, then we align with that truth, and through the aligning to that frequency, we then manifest that truth. It's not just about manifesting physical things, it's about manifesting everything. Everything is a manifestation. I notice the star as well at the top of her head there. She feels to me, it's like maybe you're all in your, I don't know, I almost want to say like physical, like sometimes when we think about the word truth, we look outside of ourselves for what that is, right? We look around and we go, that's true because I'm seeing it, right? People have that saying, I'll believe it when I see it. And if you talk to people who are spiritual, they'll say, you'll see it when you believe it, right? So this card feels like that, like you're looking for truth outside of yourself in a way through that whole concept of I'll believe it when I see it. That, but it's not just I'll believe it when I see it. It's like you're looking outside of yourself for truth, right? It's like this throat chakra concept with this swirly blue orb that she's holding, but she's holding it outside. As if outside is going to give her truth, as if someone or something else is going to provide her truth. But it is you that provides truth. It's you that chooses your truth, and then those beliefs will manifest for you. And I think that's why there's these words on this card, witchcraft. I attract a steady flow of abundance. It's talking about attraction, it's talking about manifestation, it's talking about you having the power to create, to align with a frequency, and then when you align with that frequency, that's what you see, that's what you experience. The Huntress, quest. The Pleiades light, my quest to be wild and free. Is this interesting? It's, you have an energy of like a strength where you've needed to be strong. You know, you've got a weapon in your hand, and it's, I get this, the thought that comes to mind is, I'll fire it if I need to. I'll fire this if I need to. There's the earth behind, there's blue behind. And like I was saying before, it's like looking to what already is to try and figure out the truth. But I feel like there's some defensiveness in there as well. See, I'm really having issues with my throat chakra right now. Yeah, I'm wearing blue. I'm actually in a room that has blue walls as well. I'm noticing that today. Yeah, this person feels like they have a guard up. Like maybe you feel you've had to fight in the past. Yeah, it feels like you felt like in the past you've had to defend yourself, take care of yourself. And now it's kind of like that mentality is lingering. It's as if in the past you had to do all those things and you don't need to anymore, but that thought is still there. And this may be your perspective shift where, you know, let go of that feeling the need to fight anything, feeling, it's not even fight, it's defend yourself against. It's, yeah, you're like ready, you know, I'm ready just in case. But maybe that you're also protecting yourself through, even spiritually, you know, these armbands and this flower. I sense that you've gone down a spiritual path and then are using spirituality to protect yourself too. And I've done this too, you know, like let's put a bubble around ourselves, let's shield ourselves with spiritual energy, you know, things like that. But I'm getting that when you do that, when you put a shield around yourself for a protective, and you know, I'm going to protect myself with a shield. You're already putting out there that now there's something to be protected against. Do you see what I'm saying? And so readying yourself or being ready constantly in this defensive stance, in this just in case stance, in this I need to shield up just in case. Just in case what, right? Just in case the baddies get me, just in case the bad spirits come in, all of those are kind of concepts that if we're putting energy towards protecting ourselves against them, then we're also putting energy towards that concept itself, right? So I guess this is saying rather than transcending altogether these bad energies coming in, and it could be any way, shape, or form. It could be people. You know, maybe you feel like people are coming to you with their bad energy, and then you may believe that, oh, that bad energy affects me in some way. So then you're putting up, you know, a shield or a bubble or something to protect yourself. And I actually talked about this in my last video, I think it was, or it may have been one before, where I said, oh, you know, put a bubble around yourself. And now, now I'm having a perspective shift where it's about transcending that whole idea altogether, right? I don't need to defend myself because I'm actually going to transcend that, where I'm going to align with higher positive energies so that those circumstances, situations, people, beings, whatever, aren't even in my energy field at all. So it's not that they're in my energy field, but they'll put a bubble up and a shield up or whatever. I'm going to shift my alignment, my frequency, so they're just not there at all. Electra, goddess of balance, equality. I create and foster reciprocal relationships. There it is. There it is. She's got these orbs. These feel like worlds to me. Like she is choosing her world, right? She's choosing her frequency to be in. And she feels really powerful. And I feel like this is what I was just saying about that. Let's transcend this idea of needing to defend ourselves against negative energy, negative circumstances, things, people, beings, whatever. And realize we align with what we are. So if I choose a goddess of balance energy, this says goddess of balance, then that is what I'm going to experience, right? Equality to me, the word in there, feels like when we know equality, it's not negative anymore. Equality for me negates judgment, because equality is now we're all equal, we're all fine, right? So sometimes when we look at someone, we judge them, and it might not even be an obvious judgment. Like it might not even be saying, oh, I don't like their shoes. It might be a judgment like they're being negative, or they're choosing to do things or live in a way that is detrimental to themselves, right? But really, maybe it isn't. Maybe when we look at their lifestyle, like let's say, for example, I was to look at someone and look at their lifestyle and decide, oh, you know, their life looks like, their choices look like they're detrimental to them. And I feel for them in a way, right? But really, that's a judgment, first of all. Second of all, how do I know that it's detrimental to them? Because really what I'm seeing, the judgment that I'm seeing, the judgment that I'm feeling, is that I would not want those lifestyle choices for myself, because they would be detrimental to me. Not that they're detrimental as in absolute truth, but as in for what I desire in my life, for how I choose to live my own life and what I want, I wouldn't want that. For example, I've seen people that say, you know, rise and grind, and they will, I don't know if you can hear that, but my neighbour's coughing, which is interesting because we've been talking about throat chakra. So yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. Okay, so I see people talking about rise and grind. So they'll get up and they'll start the day really early, and everything they're doing, from my perspective, from an outside perspective, and everything they say they're doing is to work towards their best self, right? So they work out, everything that they eat and drink is to do with the best, incredible performing body, right? It's for their health, it's for their body, it's so they can build muscle, it's so they can have enough protein or even more than enough to build muscle, it's so they can be strong, right? And then they go and they like grind out maybe a job, right? Maybe it could even be like a entrepreneur type thing. They're working all day every day, right? And for me, especially past me and where I was at the time, looking at that, not for me. And I could look at that and I could judge that and say that feels and looks detrimental, in the sense that I don't feel they're going with their flow. But it's not that they're not going with their flow, it's that they're not going with my flow, right? Because my flow is very different to that. Very, like, I'm a lot more relaxed, and I don't have a rise and grind mentality. I have a wake and flow, you know, go with my flow, go with what feels nice to me. And from an outside perspective, people might look at me and think that I'm not maybe doing enough, or maybe I'm not grinding enough at set things that they feel would be more beneficial to me. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I feel is equality from that card, is this feeling of acceptance, not just for other people, not just about not judging, but about self, right? Balancing self, equality in self, accepting self, knowing that we are all where we want and need to be, in a way. When it's almost like, I had this funny analogy when I was doing some cards for myself the other day, where I had to just surrender and let go. And I put it as, I need to just go limp. You know? I was saying, when I met my husband, he was very, very strong. He's very physically strong. And he could kind of just move me around wherever he kind of wanted. And I think he just did it without thinking, you know, like he just, I don't know. I know that it sounds weird. It's like, you know, he'd go to hug me and he'd kind of pull me in a bit harder than I would expect. Not that he ever hurt me or anything like that, but I realized that if I resisted it, I was going to get hurt, right? Because he was just gonna, to him, he was being gentle, and he's like this kind of gentle giant in a way. His gentle kind of can sometimes break things. So that may be an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So I remember when I met him, and he'd, you know, go to be affectionate or whatever, and I would have to go limp. In my mind, I was like, go limp. Yes, just allow, surrender. And I came up with this analogy the other day. I was like, I just need to go limp, right? And this is it. We need to just allow and surrender to ourselves. And I feel like this is, you know, helps for what we're talking about here, in the sense that we don't need to fight it. We don't need to get defensive. We don't need to have this big shield up about, you know, you're not coming into my energy, bad energy over there. Because when we do that, we sense energy. And when we fight against something, we create more of it. And so, yeah, this beautiful card over here is about surrendering and just being, just going with the flow. You know, we've got the swirl in there. Yeah, she's going, she's owning it in a way. She's owning her energy. She's owning where she is. The masculine. I feel like sometimes when we talk about going with our flow, it sounds feminine, you know, flowy and yeah, flowy. Flowy sounds feminine, I think, but I think there's also an ownership here. You know, if we're going from this card to this card, it's, I feel like this one over here, she's very strong. She's very like, I'm owning this. And I feel some masculine energy in there. But it's not like, it's not hard or, you know, strong out of a need to be, because I think that's where this card is coming from. This, I need to be strong. I need to put up a good fight, you know, or I'm ready to put up a good fight if I need to. That's what that card feels like. Whereas this one's just like, you know what, you are strong, and be strong in who you are. You know, be strong in your positivity, in who you are, in aligning with you, in aligning with your desires. And there's such an ease. I'm gonna zoom in his face. There's such an ease, right? He's so strong. He's got many, many muscles. But there's an ease about him. He's not trying to be strong. He just is. And I feel like that's the energy that's coming through here. You don't need to try to be strong. You just are. You just are. When you go with your flow, when you go with what feels true to you, with what feels right to you, with what feels good to you, that is strong. But you don't need to try to be. You don't need to push it. The shadow. People often talk about, you know, shadow work and the shadow side. And the shadow side is really interesting because my interpretation of this at this moment is, there's a side to you, not you particularly, but like everyone has this, right? Where we all have a side to us that we feel we don't like, you know, it's there's a side to us that we're rejecting. Maybe we're labeling us flaws. Maybe we don't even realize we're doing that. And then the shadow work can sometimes be about embracing those sides of ourselves. I think there's other forms of shadow work as well, but this is what's coming up for me, is that, you know, excuse me, there's a lot of, you know, truth and ready to fight, but then there's like this, no, you don't need to do that. Be you. Like this card and this card, I get a lot of energy about be you, embrace you, love you. And when you do that, everything aligns around you. You know, so we don't need to be ready to fight, because there'll be nothing to fight. Including self. And I think what this is saying is that which you've been readying yourself to fight, that which you've been putting up a shield against, that which you maybe have some negativity in your life right now, maybe some problems showing up, is a, you know, people talk about mirroring. So there's like a part of your energy that, oh, this is really big, because this is, okay, let me find the words for this. So there's this concept that people are mirroring us, right? And I don't see that as everyone is me. I see that as I put energies out through my thoughts and through my feelings, and then people will reflect that back to me, right? But now I'm getting this like one step further with this, where there is a side to you that you are rejecting, that you're perceiving as bad, that side of you is being reflected back to you, maybe through people, circumstances, situations, things going on. But it's being reflected back to you so that you can see it. Then you can see how you're labeling it as bad, and you can twist that on its head and realize it's not bad. That's big. This is really big. So, yeah, the stuff that's being reflected back to you right now, it's something about your energy. It's something about you. Like maybe you've had some thoughts around something, somehow rejecting a part of yourself, but because you reject, it's a bit like I was saying earlier about the you know, I might look at someone who's talking about rise and grind, and then I'm going, oh, they're gonna burn themselves out, you know. I go, oh, that's so detrimental to themselves, but it isn't, because it's who they are and it's who they want to be. And so there'll be parts of me that I'll be judging of me, that I'll be going, oh, I need to stop doing that because that's detrimental to me. But really, me saying that that part of me is detrimental to me is me judging me, and then me rejecting that part of me. And then that part of me that I keep judging is now being reflected back to me, right? In negative things happening around me. Then I'm getting upset. I'm like, why? But it's trying to show me this shadow side of me. It's trying to reflect it back to me so that I can look at it, see it, and then go, oh, that part of me isn't detrimental, isn't bad. It's actually just a part of me. I'm trying to sense whether I've got maybe an example in there for you, because I don't know, sometimes when I'm reading cards I'm like, oh, I hope this is making sense. But of course it is, right? Because you're resonating. And there's one of my shadows, right? Oh, I can't explain things properly. Yes, I can. Yeah, that's really cool. Joy, music. I get that word again, flow, with this, you know, that we've got the music flowing. But she sat down, which is interesting. She's not dancing with it, but she is. Her upper half is. While she's sat down. There's some plants growing up through here as well. Plants growing in the desert. You know, greenery. Beautiful blue sky with stars. There's some like clashes in a way. Like we've got the desert and then we've got greenery, and then we've got, it's the sky felt like daytime because it's so bright and blue, but then there's this really big moon, which I know the moon can be seen any time of day, but we associate that with night. But then there's stars, so it's like night and day at the same time. And then she's sat, but she's dancing, and maybe this is intertwined with this and with embracing self and balance with masculine, because it feels like those you know, yin yang, good bad, you know, those types of concepts, because that's what we're talking about when we're seeing shadow, right? We're going, there's these parts of ourselves that we like, that we talk about, these are my strengths, and then there's these other parts that we go, oh, they're my flaws, they're my bad sides, they're my things that I am not embracing, or not perceiving as I want to use a better word than good. Not perceiving as beneficial. I was looking for the opposite word to detrimental there. Because I think everything is our flow, right? And I think this is what maybe this is talking about here. Everything's our flow. Everything goes with our flow. There's been this really interesting concept that's come up for me recently with... I still get caught up when I'm trying to manifest something, create something. I still get caught up in the how without realizing I'm doing that. So the way that I get caught up in it is I actually try to control the how, which I didn't realize I was doing. So an example really quick is that I wanted to heal my teeth, and I was meditating on it, and I'd read like stories of people healing teeth, and you know, so I was like, oh, awesome, amazing, wonderful. So I'm sitting there doing the work. I went through like shadow work and all kinds of stuff. Long story short, I've ended up in a situation where I now have really good health insurance, but it's through like my husband's work. And so because my husband got this job, and then through that we got this really amazing health insurance, and now I'm able to go to the dentist. And before, I wanted to heal it, you know. And that's not me saying that you can't heal anything like that. I still believe that that can definitely happen, because I've read countless stories of that kind of healing. But my point of my story is that when I was focused on it, when I was practicing, you know, meditating and visualizing and everything else around it to try to have this manifestation happen, to try to match up to this frequency, I did match to the frequency, but it hasn't come out in the way that I thought. It hasn't come out in some healing. It's come out, I mean, it's still me healing. It's just me healing through going to the dentist. And it's been amazing. It's funny because that was the way I didn't want to go, which is why I was doing so much meditation towards healing. But actually having come down this path has been really good and really amazing, and I'm really happy. So that's what I mean by I was focused on the how without realizing I was. And so I'm learning to surrender, to go limp, and know that I will get the end result that I'm looking for. Because that's it, right? The end result I'm looking for is like the health and well-being that I'm now, or, you know, I've already got some of the health and well-being, and I'm on the path to more. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I'm getting. Mystery, dark matter. I'm just going to put this in the middle for a moment and zoom in. So it's interesting that she has the blue butterfly over her mouth. It feels like the truth, I don't, this sounds weird to me, but I'm just going to say it because this is what I'm getting. But the truth doesn't necessarily come out of your mouth. It's felt within. Ah, that makes sense, actually, now that I've said it. Now that I've said it. Not that the truth can't come out of your mouth. It's just that it's felt within. You sense your truth. You know your truth. She's got all of this like blue light within her. And it looks like, you know, space. And I've talked before about spirituality seems to be represented as galaxies, space, universe, you know. And I've had that. You've probably had that too, where you're meditating and all of a sudden you feel like you're floating in space and there's stars everywhere. She's got this big whirlwind around her. It almost feels like too much. Almost feels like too much. But it isn't. It's not too much. It's when you go with that flow that we were talking about, when you let go, when you surrender, all of that truth is felt. You feel that intuitively within you. Dark matter, I think, is talking about, you know, not literal dark matter, but our truth is sensed in a way that isn't through our normal senses here. So we don't see it, you know. So in a sense, it's kind of in the dark, you know, because we close our eyes, we go inward. But in the dark is all of this light, right? So this other kind of light in a way. I get this feeling of, it's almost like standing still and just allowing. You know, she stood very still here and she's just being in the truth. It's like she's gone away from the physical. I see this concept a lot in manifestation, in Neville Goddard. Stop stop looking to the physical, which is what we were talking about right at the beginning. Stop looking at the physical for evidence of the truth or evidence of your manifestation. Stop reacting to the physical. People, this is the advice that I see a lot of people giving to each other in these kind of forums, is people are trying to manifest something and then they're coming back and they're saying, why won't it manifest? Why can't I manifest it? I'm doing everything right. I'm focusing on it. I'm going to sleep thinking about it, falling asleep dreaming about it, whatever. And why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And then people are coming back and saying, stop looking at the physical for evidence of it. Look for the evidence in how you feel, right? Go within yourself and sense the feeling and know that you're aligned with it. And so this feels really powerful. Really, this feels more than just I'm manifesting something. This feels like your truth is within. There's cracks in reality. You are sensing through your intuition, through your inner self, the truth. Rather than looking outside of yourself for that truth, it's in you. You sense it. You know it for yourself. You know it. And when you embrace yourself and you go with that flow, when you embrace those shadows, the power that you have, everything's you. If you enjoyed this reading and it resonated with you, please hit the like button. If you want to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. That would be amazing. And I may or may not see you in another reading if one resonates with you. Thank you so much. Hello, Pile 2. Gateways of light, infinite. I have unlimited access to the divine mind. This card feels very loving. It may be love between two people, or it may also be self-love, love that you're sensing around you from source, perhaps from higher self, from spirit guides. There's this beautiful golden snake. When we think of snakes, we think of knowledge. And golden snake, golden knowledge, in a way, I feel like represents, high knowledge. There's this, I get this feeling of perhaps love from others that isn't fully being, what's the word? I want to say accepted, but it's not accepted. See, if you look at her pulling, she almost looks like she's pulling away. Not that it's almost like she can't believe so much love is coming to her, or trying to find the right wording here that makes sense for this card. Like there's so much love for you, but you don't realize it. And because you're not realizing it, it's like you're not, it's like, imagine it being an energy, but because you're not realizing it, it can't fully, you're not allowing it fully in, if that makes sense. It's like it's there ready for you. And maybe this is about self-love. Maybe that's why I was getting, at the beginning of this, I sensed it as love from someone, or love from people, or love from beings, love from outside of you to you. But then I was also getting the concept of self-love. And perhaps your perspective change today is to do with self-love, to do with when you love yourself, that's when you allow others to love you. That's when you allow love in. I get something around time as well with the moon. Like maybe you I don't know, maybe you believe you're waiting for love, or like like it just isn't time for you yet, or it hasn't been time, and maybe you're waiting for, you know, that concept of divine timing. Divine timing is still from you, and the way that you would move to that time, if you will, is by synchronization, and synchronization is through, you know, matching the frequency of what it is that you desire. And I feel here it's love. I feel here it's self-love. Even if you feel that you want love from someone else, that's still, at the base of that, you go, okay, I want love from someone else. Why do I want that? It's because I want to feel loved, right? So, excuse me, I'm having problems with my throat chakra today. And I thought it was to do with pile 1, but maybe there's a little bit in with this pile 2. Yeah, but so here we're talking about, you know, self-love. Yeah, so there's this concept of maybe you feel like it hasn't been time for you, or you're waiting for divine timing. And for you to align with that divine timing is by you aligning with the energy of it through self-love. Love self. And then so it's not about time, it's about you aligning with it. And then everything can fall into place, whether that be you relaxing into self-love, or whether you meeting somebody, whichever way that you're wanting, whichever way your desire is leaning into. You know, maybe you're here because you want more self-love, or maybe you're here because you want to meet someone. And if it is that you want to meet someone, it's also that you want more self-love. And, you know, I feel like the wording here, gateways of light, infinite, I have unlimited access to the divine mind, they really stood out to me. And I feel like it's because you are infinite. The gateways of light are open to you, and you do have unlimited access to the divine mind. And when you sync up with that, that is, you know, part with self-love. Self-love is knowing self, connecting with self, accepting self, loving self, going with your own flow, connecting inward, meditation, gratitude towards self. Electra, the awakener, rise out of the ashes. I rise like the golden sun. This person feels like, I get, you know, the concept of a balancing act. Like maybe you feel like you're trying to balance too much. You're trying to balance everything. You're trying to balance, maybe you feel like trying to connect inward, trying to self-love, trying to be one with all that is, and connect with that. Maybe it feels too difficult, like oh, I need to rise, you know, out of the ashes I rise like the golden sun. You know, maybe when you're meditating, you're feeling it, right? Or doing some kind of practice, you're feeling it. But then when it comes to, I don't know, like being in everyday life, maybe you feel you're losing it a little bit, like losing that connection, losing that feeling of, you know, connected to all that is, that inner love. Maybe you're putting self-love on a pedestal, and making it too hard for yourself. Balancing act as well, seeing this. A big realization that I had about self-love only maybe 6 months ago was, if you are trying to gain self-love, like let's say that you've decided, I don't have enough self-love, or I don't have self-love and I need to. And so then you're going about doing some practices, like maybe you're doing some shadow work, maybe you're doing some gratitude, maybe you're doing journaling, meditating, you know, this kind of thing, channeling, listening to these kinds of videos, to try to elevate yourself, to try to bring self-love to yourself, to try to get into self-love, right? Because you're believing, I don't have self-love, or I lack some self-love. And so you're doing all of this stuff. And I realized in myself that I'd become a bit of a perfectionist about it. Like I somewhere along the lines, subconsciously, without realizing, thought that I needed to never have a negative thought ever about myself. And that's not true. But what is true is that when you're going about all of these activities, and maybe even if you're not doing activities, but even if you are saying to yourself, I would like more self-love, and therefore I want to stop and care about myself more, even if it's just in thought, even if that's it, that is you loving yourself, right? If you care about self-love, it's because you care about yourself, and therefore you have self-love. You're already there. You already love yourself. If you love yourself enough that you're sitting there and doing some shadow work, or you're working on yourself in any way, even watching a video like this, you know, trying to open yourself to a new perspective or a perspective shift, or trying to watch, you know, oracle readings because you're trying to, I don't know, grow yourself or figure something out because you want more joy in your life or more love, etc., etc. It shows you care about yourself, and that care shows you already have self-love. But I think this card is saying you have self-love too high and too big. Like, and I did this, you know, I thought self-love meant I'll love myself unconditionally, like 24/7. But us being human, we don't feel like that. You know, I had a beautiful, wonderful cat, and I loved her. And I remember at the time thinking about this, you know, when I realized this, because I was thinking about this beautiful cat that I absolutely loved and adored, but it didn't mean she didn't annoy me sometimes. It didn't mean that I didn't, you know, dislike picking up her poo. You know, there were things about having a cat that I didn't like. Didn't like picking up poo. Didn't like having to do set things every single day. Some things, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't mind grooming her here and there, but then it was, I have to every day. And there were some days where maybe I don't want to. Did it mean that I didn't love her? No. Did it take away the love that I felt for her? No. And sometimes we feel like this towards people as well. You know, sometimes we love someone and then there's something that maybe they do that, you know, rubs us the wrong way, annoys us. You know, maybe we judge that or whatever. Doesn't mean we don't love them. And it's the same about us. So in the past, I had far too much negative self-talk. So then, of course, my path became, I need to practice self-love. And I went down that path of self-love. But I didn't know where to stop. I didn't realize, oh, wait, I've done enough. I don't need to look at, oh my God, there's a negative thought again. Why am I thinking that negative thought? And then fix that negative thought or fix that thought about myself, you know, and go. And every time I had a negative thought about myself, I go, oh no, I'm still thinking that, or I'm thinking this now, and then think I didn't love myself. But that's not true, because like I said, I didn't like picking up cat poo, but it didn't mean I didn't like my cat. Right? Didn't like it when she would be moody and not sit with me, but it didn't mean I didn't love her. So sometimes there might be things about me that maybe I judge, maybe I don't like, but it doesn't mean I don't love me. The Jade Star, surrender. I am ready to let go with self-compassion. Oh, self-compassion. That's a fantastic word for what we were just talking about, right? Being compassionate with yourself. You're not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna be your version of perfect. You're gonna have some things that you're gonna label as flaws. And self-compassion is amazing. That is part of self-love, right? Self-love includes acceptance of, there's sometimes when there's things I don't like about me. There's sometimes where I annoy myself, right? There's sometimes where I'm mad at myself or I'm upset with myself. But I give myself compassion in those moments. You know, we've got this incredible dragon around this orb, but this orb also feels very physical. And I feel like this deep green, you know, green we associate with heart chakra, we associate with love, and we've just been talking about love, self-love. And I feel like this really deep green is like, it's deep love, but it's also it also feels like dark love. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like loving your shadow self, loving those parts of you that aren't perfect, aren't, you know, what maybe you would label as good traits and things like that. But loving that as well, loving that balance that you have, yin and yang, and, you know, different sides to you. You're a complicated being. You're complex. Divinity. I feel like this card is about giving yourself some grace, giving yourself space to be you, there's a fine balance between recognizing parts of yourself that maybe could use some work, could maybe use some growth, but also could be accepted. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you don't want to put all your energy on, I need to fix myself before I can love myself, right? And you don't even want to be putting all of your energy on fix me. You know, oh, there's this flaw, there's that flaw, I need to do more shadow work. What else is there to fix? You're this beautiful being, you know, you're this beautiful, beautiful person. And there's so much coming from you. There's just so much. There's so many positive traits to you already. So much about you that's just wonderful. But then to get caught up in, you know, maybe I don't love myself yet, or maybe I'm not whole yet, or maybe I'm not fully balanced yet, or, you know, this reading feels like a very fine balance between gaining, like moving towards self-love, like with some compassion, with understanding. And so it's almost a paradox in a way, because it's like realizing, oh, I've been on my own case too much about needing to do shadow work, maybe to fix something, maybe to stop thinking that, to stop being negative around that. But then it's like, oh, I need to stop doing that. I need to just not stop doing that, but I need to give myself some grace. I need to stop and go, okay, I don't need to fix every little thing about me. It's like having a whole head of hair in your head and trying to make every single hair sit exact, and you're literally grabbing every individual hair and trying to, you know, exactly put it where it needs to go. Whereas hair as a whole just looks nice. And there can be a couple of strands out of place. Sometimes there can even be a flick that to you don't really like. You know, you can even go, that's sitting the wrong way. But other people like it. Other people see, you know, parts of you that maybe you are labeling as bad, or want to change, or want to grow out of, or whatever. And they like it. They like those parts of you. Yeah, so there's this really beautiful fine balance here between growth, but also between growth and between growth and self-love. It is a paradox where you're going, okay, if I just accept where I am and accept those flaws, they almost kind of iron out themselves then, right? You know, when we embrace those sides to ourselves and embrace all of who we are, then all of a sudden it's like now we're seeing it through a lens of love. And then all of a sudden I am in that self-love. And so the growth isn't fixing those things, fixing those thoughts, fixing those feelings, fixing those flaws, you know, like you would label them, but rather seeing how wonderful they are. And then the self-love is there. But also realizing that as I'm trying to do this, as I'm sitting here and I'm doing this shadow work where I'm loving and accepting myself as I am, that is self-love. I do love me. Vows. I get something to do with a promise. Like, you know, when people make a deal or a promise to each other and they shake hands on it. But I feel like it's a promise that you made to yourself. And promise might be a too big of a word. It's almost just like a deal, but it wasn't a deal. It was more like it's like you've made a decision in yourself in the past, like promising yourself in a way, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I don't know what it is, but it's like, I feel like now, whatever I don't know, maybe you're pushing yourself to be something. Maybe you've committed to something. Yeah, it feels like you committed to something inside yourself. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to promise myself that I'm going to do this no matter what. And it started to grow, to turn into something good. But I get the feeling now like it's not good for you anymore, but you're continuing to do it because you made the vow, you made the promise, you made the deal with yourself in a sense. And it's like you keep looking at it going, but it is good, like there is growth there. I feel like it's to do with what we're talking about today, this perspective change, like you need to go a different way about it. Not that you need to, it may or may not be stop doing it, but it's not stop doing it because you're hearing me say this today, but it's maybe a perspective change. Maybe a perspective change will, you'll continue doing it, but you won't want or need out of it what you thought you wanted or needed out of it in the past. It could be something that you've made a commitment to. So you've got this commitment to this something, and it's almost the ties around the hand feel like you feel tied in, like you feel like I have to do this now. And there is some flourishing going on, but I don't feel like this is going to be the biggest flourishing thing. But that's okay too. It almost feels as well that the flourishing that it has done is enough. You know, like this, it is nice. Like that tree is nice. It's just smaller than you expected, I think. Or, it's smaller. That's the feeling I'm getting from this. There's something as well that I feel about time, because I noticed that moon in the background of it. That moon is so full too. You know, there's this really big full moon. So maybe what it is, maybe it's not time, maybe it could be time, because, like we talked about earlier, divine timing, but that's not real. It kind of is, it kind of isn't. It's more of your alignment. Are you aligning with it? When you align with it, then everything will fall into place. So I feel like maybe again, maybe it's to do with this card here. You have something where you're wondering if it's going to go anywhere. But then I feel like the moon in the background is saying, well, that's up to you. But maybe like where you currently are energetically, it's going to be small, or it is small. And maybe you're wondering, is it going to get bigger? You know, is this going to get bigger? Is this going to keep going? I feel like you're embracing where it is. I feel like, you know, it's small, but that's okay. I don't mind that. It's okay. It's nice where it is, because this feels nice. This little tree feels nice. There's just this, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's something you're committed to. It's small. I actually have something in my life that this is resonating with. So, as well, I'm understanding this. But, and you see, even I had this sort of, is it going to get bigger? Like, as if, see, this is the perspective shift that we're getting today. Is I didn't realize that I had this thought around, is it going to get bigger, as if something else outside of me is going to make it bigger or not, you know? But it isn't. That's up to me, right? It's up to my decisions, it's up to my energy, whether I align with that or not. See, sometimes I'm reading these cards and I sometimes feel like I don't want to make this about me, right? It's not about me, it's about the cards. But as soon as I mention I feel this about me, that's when it all starts flowing. I'm like, okay, yeah. Attraction, magnetism. Yeah, again, see, like attraction, magnetism. People talk about manifestation. They use words like attraction, magnetizing to you, you know. But it's up to you, right? The whole universe is in front of you, and you're like this little child in a way, making decisions through your thoughts, your feelings, your manifestations and ideas. Yeah, so if you are someone, you know, where in the beginning I said maybe you want love, and it starts with self-love, but it is up to you, right? It is up to you. Sometimes we consult the cards because we want an answer, and we like want or expect an answer like, will this happen? Like, well, it depends on your alignment. And the cards will answer you, but they'll answer where your alignment is. You know, is your energy aligned? You know, if you get a yes, you can turn that into a no, or if you get a no, you can turn it into a yes, because it's up to you. You're the energy aligning. Motion, air. This feels like you're trying to push forward, but you're feeling held back. It feels similar, like a similar concept with this card here, where we talked about you feel imbalanced and you feel like you're trying to balance all these things. But you don't need to, right? And it's the same with this card. Flowing forward is more of an allowing. You know, like in this card, we have the word surrender. That's what let go is. Let go and surrender. Let go and allow. I like the word allow better than let go. And that can feel really hard to do, right? Because we want something, and when we want something, we try, we work towards it, we push, and then we don't realize that sometimes in our trying, we're actually pushing against, or we're pushing the wrong way, because it's like, oh, I'm focused on pushing away from that thing that I don't want, but then we're pushing towards it because we're focused on that thing that we don't want. So this motion air, it's like there's these horses and it's air and you can just fly, but it almost feels like those horses are running on the spot. And that I feel like that's how you feel, like you feel a little bit stuck, which I think is to do with my throat chakra today. Feeling stuck, feeling like I'm trying, I'm trying to align, I'm trying to do all this stuff. But I think that is the problem, right? That you don't need to try. You are. You are amazing. You are divine. You are attracting and, you know, magnetizing things to you. You are manifesting. You have love around you already. There's so much love there for you, including from you, right? You already love you more than you've realized, because you care about you. And you do all the wonderful things you love to do. I remember thinking about values. Like, people will talk about values. What do you value? What are your values? And do you align with your values? And really, of course, we align to our values. The things that we value, we naturally do because we value it. It's like, I value being kind. I'm always kind. I don't ever, you know, be unkind. I never purposely go out of my way to be unkind. I don't know if I accidentally be unkind. I hope I don't. But, you know, like, and so if I was to write a values list, kind would be on there because I like to be kind. I value that. But then I just naturally am. It's like compassion as well. I will put myself in other people's shoes. I'll give people compassion and sympathy and empathy. They are things I value. So you're already aligned with your values. You're already aligned. You're already doing them. You already care about you. That's why you're here. The self-love is there. I feel like this reading today, you know, this perspective shift, I feel like for you, this perspective shift is, oh, I already love me, right? And I feel like that is going to align you so that this motion can start moving forward. I do feel like you've got what you came here for. It's like this sudden realization of I do love me, almost it at the same time creates a feeling of self-love, right? That you've been wanting, that you've been hoping to work towards. It's like, oh, I want self-love, oh, I've got self-love. Oh, that feels nice. And as you lean into that with self-compassion, then everything else flows. But it doesn't need to flow so perfectly. Like this one up here, it's like it doesn't need to be perfect. And you know that and you get that. If you enjoyed this reading today, please, you know, hit the like button. I'd love to hear about it in the comments if you would like to share. And I may or may not see you in another reading if one aligns with you. Thank you so much. Hello, Pile 3. The Oracle. Forecast. I am the Oracle. My intuitive insights flow freely. There you go. You are the Oracle. You don't need me. I'll just leave you to it. I feel like you definitely know this about yourself. You know that you have high intuition. You tap in. There's maybe a little bit of needing to trust yourself a little bit more with it. I really notice the green color in this, and I also notice that it has a tinge of blue in there as well. I feel like the green, you know, standing out, talks about the heart chakra. The blue, we talk about the throat chakra. I've recently heard of high heart chakra, or high heart energy. I feel like, I keep getting the word trust. Trust yourself through your heart. I think that's where I feel a lot of my intuition, and maybe you do too, is like around my chest. And of course, you know, when we're talking about blue, we're talking about throat chakra. So we're talking about speaking truth, even being truth. And that's all around you. You are doing that. Yeah, trust yourself. Know you're doing it. You're doing it a lot better. I don't know if better is the right word. A lot bigger than you realize. The fallen star, shame. I no longer hide my face. I step into my light with love. So it's funny, in the last reading, there was something in there that I started mentioning, I can resonate with this. I just realized that I just looked down and across and saw that my external microphone wasn't plugged in. So apologies for that. I guess I'll just have to adjust the sound when I'm editing. Anyway, so yeah, I was just saying that in the last reading there was something that resonated with me. And I feel like this is resonating with me in that, I'm obviously doing readings, and I do feel that I need to trust myself more. And as well, this card, I no longer hide my face. I step into my light with love. I've hidden away from this for years. I've been insecure about doing this. As a huge sign, like a massive sign of do this work, do readings for people, came up for me. And then 6 weeks later, I still wasn't doing it. I was saying I was going to do it, but I didn't do it. And I was hiding, and there's a lot going on for me with that. So I relate to that. I step into my light with love. This is what I've been doing. I've been sensing that inner intuition and moving towards it. And if I have a fear, if I have any fear thoughts pop in, I recenter myself into that heart space and I feel it. And I say to myself, I feel this. I'm sensing this. Something happened for me really early. I did my first recording and I had my first video get all ready and, well, not already, all recorded. And I was trying to get it from my phone to my PC so that I could edit it and piece it all together to create my video. And I couldn't do it. Every way I was doing it was blocking me. And I was so confused because I had multiple signs and even literal words of do oracle readings on YouTube said to me. And so when I couldn't get it uploaded so that I could edit it, I was confused because I was thinking, I've been shown to do this. Why is this now being blocked? And the next day, I had someone close to me that wanted me to do cards for her. And then my husband said, oh, maybe the readings you did yesterday were for her. And I really didn't think it was, because the concept that I had around the reading that I did didn't seem to fit what she wanted to do cards around. And so I thought, oh, I don't think so. And so I pulled up my videos just on my phone because I couldn't get them off my phone. And I showed her and she said, oh, this pile is resonating with me. So I showed her the video, I let her watch it. And it was incredibly apt and it resonated to everything she needed at that moment. And after she watched it and had all of that happen, I was suddenly able to get it uploaded to my PC. Everything was just suddenly working again. But I almost feel like I needed that to happen to elevate my my confidence in this, because when that happened, it was like when I was doing that reading, I did not have her in my mind at all. I didn't see the connection at all. And even when my husband said, oh, maybe one of those readings are, I was like, no, I don't think so. The concept's completely different. But then it was perfect and it was her and it was for her and it was just, yeah, amazing. So that happening, elevated my confidence in doing this. But I've still struggled over the last couple of weeks of don't hide myself, don't stop doing this, don't let fear get in the way of me. I keep going into story time with these readings today. And at first, I kind of have this moment where I think, why am I telling this story? Like, this isn't story time. This is oracle card reading time. But then later, the story that I told was appropriate. So I noticed in the cards, oh, okay, that story was good. I notice, you know, she's very golden. I'm getting, you know, gold and white. It feels they're colors or shades or whatever that we associate, or that I associate at least, with the higher space, spirituality. You know, when we do like, oh, let's bring in light, you know, when we're meditating, what color is it going to be? It's going to be white. So it's going to be gold, you know, and it's going to sparkle, right? And she has such beauty, but not in a vain or shallow way, but just in that she shines with divine light. And I feel like the word shame there is, you know, it's like sometimes we get caught up in the feeling of shame, but we don't need to. I actually found like a subliminal popped up for me the other day that was called Shame. And I was like, that's an interesting title. But it was about transmuting that shame. You know, you have shame and let's transmute it, let's transform it into something that works for me. And I think that's, you know, part of the shadow work that keeps coming up in all of these readings today, shadow work, shadow work. But yeah, it's transforming that. It's realizing we don't need that. I really love that second sentence there. I step into my light with love. And I also love the first part of that. I no longer hide my face. You know, because face represents who we are. I no longer hide who I am. I step into my light with love. I sense who I really am, and then I show that, right? I be that. I embrace that. I can't not show that, really. I think that's part of this too. You can't not be yourself, and who you are is a divine light here. You know, is meant to be here, is wonderful and amazing. Mother of the sea, goddess, I surrender to the boundless creative flow of the ocean. I keep getting water lately, and I feel like it's representative of spirituality, of flow, of everything moving forward. Water as well has a power. It's like a softness, but a power. You know what I mean? Water doesn't seem powerful. It seems flowy and whatnot. You know, we get floods here, and we get warnings about those floods because people don't realize that water that is even shallow can move your car. You know, will take your car and you'll be taken into those flood waters. So water is really powerful, and I think it's representative of our flow. You know, water is lovely as well. We love water. We love water flowing on us. We love showers and baths and pools, and you know, or I do anyway. But you know, there's like a gentleness about water, about the idea of water, but really it's powerful. And I think that goes the same with energy. The more you go with the flow, the more gentle you are, right? The stronger it is. So I think, you know, this going from the oracle to I step into my light with love to mother of the sea, goddess, creative flow with the ocean. It's really apt here because you're flowing along with yourself. It's like I'm sensing that heart energy, that intuition, that inner self. I am one with all that is, with that flow, having these deep divine senses from within. I'm stepping into my light with love and being myself and showing myself. And then I'm going with this flow of it all. And this flow of that is hugely powerful. Creation. I get that, I get a concept of pulling through two things together to create something new. I was just thinking the other day about the concept of when we imagine doing something. When I remember this one day imagining or thinking about going and meeting up with a group of people that I used to meet up with. It was a spiritual group. And I was just kind of vaguely imagining in my head. I wasn't like trying to, I was just like daydreaming off about it, I guess. And I was contemplating whether I wanted to go or not. And I was thinking about it, and I was umming and ahhing, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go that day. And I ended up going, and all of this stuff happened during that day that I realized I could never have imagined, you know? So I feel like the word creation, like even what I'm doing now, maybe things that you're doing in your life right now, maybe you're doing some new things, going with like a new flow of things. And I think it's saying like, as you're doing this, like you're merging yourself with something new, and you can't even imagine what's going to come out of that. You know, two people coming together and making a baby is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely amazing. And even the creation of like the relationship, the togetherness. You know, before I met my husband, I imagined I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be in a beautiful, wonderful relationship. I could not have imagined everything that this relationship is. Now that I'm in it, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this. You know, it's incredible and amazing, and I couldn't have even imagined what this was going to be like. And it's the same with everything we do, experiences we do. Imagining an experience is not as big or the same as actually going into an experience. And I feel like this is like saying to you, like, as you're moving towards whatever it is that you're moving towards, as you become one with that, there is going to be so much in that that you can't even imagine right now. And this is creation. Secrecy. Just coming from this concept, you know, to this concept, I feel like, you know, it's a secret to you in a way. It's hidden from you. The depth of experience that you're going to have, the outcomes that are going to come from it. But it's kind of like a surprise, you know. She has a nice look on her face, and because she has a secret that you're going to like. And I noticed as well the very bright yellowing in the background of both of these images. I feel like, you know, it's representative of love and light, divinity coming through. You know, similar to what I was saying about the gold here, you know, we associate spirituality with white and gold light, you know, coming through. Yeah, it feels like there's something in the background unseen to you at this point that is going to be bigger and better than you can imagine. Completion, west. See, I see the same yellow here, and that's really standing out. It's almost like as you get that final piece of the puzzle and you place it in, boom, you know, you'll see it. You'll see this brightness in your life, things that it feels like beyond your desires. You know, maybe right now you have some goals, or you're maybe doing something, working towards something maybe, and you have like an idea of where that's going. But where it's going to be is going to be so much brighter than you can imagine right now. I feel like as well, you know, there's a brain here, and I feel like it's telling you you don't need to work it out, because this puzzle piece is coming like from outside, and then it's just lighting you up. But you don't need to work it out in your mind. You can just allow it. Groundedness, gravity. I get the feeling of abundance from here. I also get the feeling of people being really happy for you, like lots of people, almost like, well done, you know, you did it, well done, amazing, good job, you know. And you're in the middle feeling like, I'm just me. Not in a bad way, just in a humble way, you know. Yeah, and there's like people cheering you on. I think even your spirit team cheering you on too. You know, your spirit team being there going, amazing, wonderful, you know. I feel like as well the butterflies that have kind of, I don't have string to you as if they're about to like take flight with you. I get you've taken new beginnings and you've taken flight with them. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. Because butterflies represent new beginnings. There's like a see, I want to say words like adoration, admiration, but it's not quite. It's not quite that. It is in a way, but in a very positive way, in a very loving way, in a way that it's as if people recognize that you started, you know, from this space where we've got like words like shame, and from here where you're amazing, you just can't fully see it, right? And so you're this kind of, you know, those people who are quiet and just kind of pop out of nowhere and they've succeeded in what they wanted to succeed in. They've gone down the path that they wanted to, and they're there. They've arrived. It's that kind of admiration that people have for you. Like, you did it. You stood up and you work towards what it is that you desire. I feel like you know, when I introduced this video, I talked about change of perspective, the perspective shift. And I think your perspective shift is starting to believe in yourself with a sense of allowing. You don't need to like full on believe in yourself. Like in the past, people would say to me, believe in yourself. Or, you know, you would hear that concept around. And I thought it meant that I had to like step up my confidence, you know, like I need to believe in myself. But this feels more like believe in where you already are, believe in your abilities, in your positive traits. Know you're good enough as you are. Stop hiding your face and show it. And as you just slowly do that, just in your own comfortable way, you don't need to step outside of your comfort zone. You can just be very comfortable within your comfort zone, showing your face, showing who you are. And then from there, all of this magic happens, you know. I feel like you here, it's like you've succeeded massively in a way, you know, in your way, in the way that you want. And again, in a way that you can't even imagine right now. You're just like on top of the world, you know. But there's such a humbleness in there as well. Like you'll feel like I was just me. And I think this is why it's so important right now for you to just be you and not push yourself, not step outside of your comfort zone, you know, not believe in yourself and try to like push yourself in any way. It's just be you. Be you. You are more than good enough. Stop feeling shame. Feel good enough as you are. And all of this magic happens. And then you arrive, you know. I feel like as well, I get the feeling from this that it's not just like you will arrive, it's like people already feel that way about you. I feel like your spirit team's already there saying, well done, you're doing it, you're fantastic. And I feel like you have people around you at the moment already feeling that about you, already feeling like you've maybe built your confidence, you've maybe succeeded in some way, you know. It might not be physical. It might be you've healed your mental health. It might be maybe you've learned to be the oracle, and maybe you're really good at it now. Yeah, there's this kind of admiration around you from others that are like, well done, you did it. I feel like as well you're already sensing this, what I was, talking about with the yellow. The yellow, I feel like is I feel like you're honing in on who you really are, whatever that means for you, and you're seeing how as I'm being myself, as I'm relaxing into who I am and showing myself to the world and stepping into my light with love. I love that line. I'm going to keep saying it. As you're doing that, you're seeing how this is creating the magic. The magic is happening, right? But it wasn't what you imagined it to be. I said you can't imagine it. It's not, maybe it's not physical. Maybe you thought it was going to be physical, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's about how you feel about yourself. I feel like that's the win here. When I'm looking at this last card, I feel like she's grown in confidence. That's what it feels like. Yeah, and she feels on top of the world with that. If you liked this reading, please hit the like button. If this resonated with you and you would like to share, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And I may or may not see you in another video if one aligns with you. Thank you very much.